Hello everybody at videoSongsBlog.com. This is my second in a series of videos talking about my gear and my philosophies and me standing on a soapbox for a while. And this video is going to be about microphones, what I think about certain microphones, what microphones I use, and how I approach miking my various instruments, and sort of my philosophies on recording and being, silly, all that kind of stuff. So this microphone is the microphone that I use the most. It's called a Neumann TLM 103. It's a German-made microphone, and to me it sounds really clear. A lot of people think that they call it like a character mic because it has this little high-end boost, but I really like that. I like crisp, clear sounds. Sometimes I also like really muffled sounds, but it depends on what you're going for. This mic, generally, I don't use much EQ with it. It pretty much takes care of itself. I put a high pass on just about every track that I use because I get a lot of low frequency rumble in this building. I'm next to a freeway and a road out there. And so I end up having to put a high pass on a lot of stuff around like 60 hertz. Sometimes even a little higher, depending on what the sound is. If it's glockenspiel, I can nudge it up to maybe 150, 200 hertz, or sometimes even higher. It sort of depends on what I'm going for. But anyway, this is one of my favorite microphones, Neumann TLM 103. I guess one of the things I like about it is it sounds like there's nothing between my instrument and the speakers. It sounds like it's just, the fidelity is so good. It's like as if the instrument went straight from itself to the speakers and didn't skip through any intermediate step, which would usually be the microphone. A lot of people don't feel that way about this mic. They think it colorizes the sound and blah blah blah, and that's personal preference. That's personal taste. I think one of the things I've been reading this book by this guy Jeff Emmerich, who engineered all the Beatles sessions from Revolver up through Abbey Road. And he was a real rebel, and he broke all the rules in the studio, which is one of the reasons those albums sounded unlike anything anyone had ever heard before. He invented new techniques and new ideas. You weren't allowed to put microphones closer than a few feet from drums, for instance, and you had to leave things far away because the engineers and the studio managers were afraid of damaging the microphones. And he was one of the first guys that moved the microphones in real close to the drums, and he put a towel in the kick drum because he wanted it muffled a little bit. And then that became like an industry standard. So I guess when I'm thinking about recording and miking, I'm always wary of industry standards, especially after reading this book. I want to make sure that what I do is what I really want to hear, not what I think other people who are smarter and higher and more well-trained than me want to be heard and say what needs to be heard. I want to ditch that, like this guy Jeff Emmerich. He's like my recording role model right now. And I just want to really tap into what is it that my ears want. So that's what I would, that's how I approach miking and how I would suggest approaching miking, which is what do my ears want to hear? And that takes a certain level of honesty that's way harder than just following industry standards. So I'm going to use an SM57 on the microphone, on the snare drum. Why? This is an SM57 right here. This is the industry standard for miking a snare drum, and I use it all the time. I do. But the question is, why? And recently I've been realizing, well, I use an SM57 on a snare drum because everybody tells me you're supposed to use an SM57 on the snare drum. But maybe I don't want to hear an SM57 on the snare drum. I've never thought about that. And following the industry standard, it forces you to be less creative. It allows you not to be creative. So, okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox for a second and come back to that. I'm going to talk about another mic that I have. This is a D112. Really good on bass instruments because it's got this fat, huge diaphragm in there. It's a dynamic mic, which means it doesn't require power, unlike the Neumann TLM 103, which requires power to run. You have to send it phantom power through your mixing console or your M-Box or whatever it is. This does not require power. It's a dynamic mic, and it responds really well to bass frequencies. It's got some peaks in it. I don't know what the frequency curve looks like. I know it goes way up in the low end, and when you put it next to a kick drum, you can hear it. Sometimes I record trombone with that. For some Pamplemousse songs, I recorded trombone for Always in the Season with the D112, made by AKG. It's a great mic company, an audio company. I've been using it less on the current record that I'm working on because I've been going for a really far away sound on the drums. So I've only been doing stereo mics on the drums. The Neumann up top, and then this mic, which is a Electro-Harmonix EHC2, which I have grown to love. It's a Russian mic, and to me, it has a lot of high-end frequencies. It's got a boost. It's almost like a high shelf, and it's pretty cool though. I like it. It sounds, when you compare it with the Neumann, it almost sounds like tinny or something, but I like that. It definitely shapes and colors the sound, and it kind of sounds cheap, but in a cool way. It's not like cheap like it boosts the high end and boosts the low end and cuts out the mids. I don't really like that sound. A lot of people do like that sound, but I don't dig that quite as much. But this mic sounds really cool to me. I like recording vocals with it, especially because it makes me feel really informal when I'm recording. And when I feel informal about recording, I don't care as much. And when I don't care as much, I can just do takes and it doesn't matter. And that's usually the zone that I like to get in when I'm recording, which is one of the whole reasons I do video songs too, because it helps me just like, you know, kind of go with it, because it's just an experiment, and who cares. And this mic makes me feel like I'm working on an experiment, as opposed to a finished product, which is very helpful for my recording mentality when I'm recording vocals, especially. What else do I record that? I record drums with the EHC2 over the top. Sometimes I'll record guitars, vocals sometimes, but it's a great microphone. It requires phantom power. I really like that mic. Okay, this mic, this is another industry standard Shure SM58. Same company who makes the SM57. And this mic I don't really use in the studio that much, although I'm sure it would be cool to use it in the studio. I haven't yet, and part of that is because I'm just sort of getting used to this space in the studio. But this is sort of the again, here's the word, industry standard for live vocals. Pretty much everybody uses this mic when they're singing live. Okay, here's another mic that I haven't used in a long time. Oops, let me get it out here. Sorry for the jumbly video for a second. This mic is AKG, and it's a C1000S. This was my first microphone that I ever had, and it did a really good job for me for a while, and I actually am getting interested in plugging it in again to see what it sounds like, but I just haven't used it in a long time since I got the Neumann. It is a cool mic, and I know that a lot of studios use it, and I just, you know, tell you the truth, I haven't used it in a long time, so I can't really talk that much about it. But anyway, those are pretty much all the microphones that I have and use. I really like using limited equipment, because I feel like one, it helps your budget and your pocketbook, and two, it forces you to be creative. If you have only a few things that you're working with, you really have to use them well, and you have to get to know them well and know what their strengths are. So I do most of my recording with that guy and this guy, especially for this most recent record. Actually, I think those might be the only two mics on the entire record. So anyway, that's my microphone spiel, and I hope you like it. And make sure to go check out videosongsblog.com, because they just finished Diary of a Video Song. So lots of cool stuff going on over there. And I'll see you soon. see you for the next video. Leave comments below to tell me what you want me to talk about next. I'll talk about anything in the studio. Let me know. Leave a comment below. Okay, adios.